Welcome back to another interesting tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to sew this side gathered dress. As you can see right here, it has a cap sleeve as well. This is another version of this dress. This dress is actually trending. You can put buttons at the front. You can also put a rope at that illusion line. So this is what I got right here. So you can see the cape, you can see the illusion, you can see the side gathered as well. Sharing with you the tips and tricks to making this trendy dress with cape and illusion. I'll be sharing with you the tips and tricks to making this beautiful dress. So let's dive into it right now. So I'm going to take my measurement from the shoulder to the chest line. This is shoulder to bust point, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to waistline, shoulder to hip line. And the full length of this dress, I just use my knee length, 40 inches. You can make it above or below. I'll also do the same on the other side. Now I'm going to highlight all the lines from the shoulder, chest line, bust line, under bust, waist, hip line, and the full length line. So these are the lines that you need for this project. On the shoulder line, I'm going to take my shoulder divide by 2, shoulder divide by 2 on the chest line. Neck width is 3 inches. Come down by 1 inch. Connect your shoulder slant. Make a straight line for your armhole. Find the midpoint. Go in by 0.75 or 3/4 of an inch. Connect to the tip of the shoulder. On the chest line, you measure your bust circumference divide by 4 and mark. On the bust line, you will take your bust span measurement or nipple to nipple measurement divide by 2. Mark it on the bust line, on the waistline, and on the hip line. Mark a straight line for your dart leg. We are going to take 0.75, 0.75, which is a total of 1.5 inches on the waistline. Then connect all the way down to the hip line. Then we are going to take the waist measurement divide by 4. Replace your dart of 1.5 inches. Then we are going to connect from that point to the chest line. On the hip line, you use your hip circumference divide by 4. Then connect all the way down. Then you are going to take what you have on the hip line. Take the measurement of all you have on that hip line and take it all the way to the hem line. And then we are going to mark a straight line. Here is the center front line. Now coming over to the shoulder, you divide the shoulder seam into 2. Get the midpoint and connect it to the bust point. Next, we are going to take the neck level. So the neck level I'm using here is 6 inches. From the shoulder, mark 6 inches downwards. Next, we are going to go out by 3/4, which is 0.75 on both sides for the over bust dart. Total is 1.5 inches for the over bust dart. So I'm going to connect the over bust dart. After connecting that part, we'll come over to the under bust. Measure your under bust circumference divide by 4. Anything you have remaining, mark 0.25 in front and the rest by the side. We will use this to contour or tighten the under bust. So you can use any method of under bust tightening you know. So these are my darts right now, and I'm going to connect from that under bust all the way to the hip line, and that is my dart. So these darts are this is the dart I'm going to cut out in the course of this tutorial to tighten this dress. Now we want to talk about the illusion line. So for the illusion line, I just want to come down from that 6 inches line by half an inch because it appears to be a little bit high. So in other words, I have 6.5 inches from that shoulder line. So you can just take 6.5. On that 6.5 inches line, we are going to mark 1 inch inwards. That is for the opening of the illusion line. Then the depth of the illusion line, I marked 2 inches. So I'm going to connect from the 1 inch to the 2 inches. Next, we are going to connect the cape. So from that line, you are going to mark 2.5 inches downward. Connect a straight line from that 1 inch to connect your cape. Mark 2.5 inches there. Then we are going to rule a rectangular line. From your chest line, come up by 1 inch. You come up by 1 inch from your chest line. Then mark, we are going to reconnect the armhole again. This is a sleeveless dress, so you have to come up by 1 inch for your chest line. So I'm going to blend that line with the line we have already. So this is the cape, and we are going to trace it out accordingly. I came in by 1 inch from my shoulder tip. You can see the 1 inch. I'm using broken line to highlight that 1 inch I came in all the way to touch the neckline. So I put an arrow there. That is where the strap or the sleeve is going to start from. Now we'll go over to the waistline. From the waistline, you will come down by 2.5 inches. Come down by 2.5 inches. Then from the hip line at the center front, come down by 4 inches and come in by 2.5. So I came in by 2.5 from that 4 inches. On the hem line, I came in by 2.5 inches. So I'm going to connect a straight line, as you can see right here. From that 2.5 inches on the waistline, just connect a straight line to meet up the existing line. Now we are going to blend up this line. So go ahead and blend it up the way you see me doing right here. Now the front dress is ready. This is 1 and this is 2. Next, we are going to impute the bust dart. So the bust dart I have here is just 1 inch. So from the bust point, I came down by 1 inch for my bust dart, and I got the midpoint of my bust dart. I'll just throw the bust dart right here and connect it all the way to the chest line. So make sure you put your bust dart to make this bust here more beautiful. So here we are going over to the back. We are highlighting the shoulder, chest. We don't need the bust point and under bust. Because of the bust dart, you will step up by 1 inch because the back dress is always shorter by 1 inch. On the hip line, I'll come up by 1 inch again. So all the measurements for the back right now is going to be shorter by 1 inch, including the full length line because of the bust dart. So after highlighting these lines, I have my shoulder, chest, waistline, hip line, and the full length line. And these are the lines we need for the back. And that is my center back. You are going to take your shoulder, divide by 2 again. Impute it on the chest line. Come down by 1 inch. Neck width is 3 inches. Connect your shoulder slant. Make a straight line for your armhole. Get the midpoint of your armhole. Come in by 0.5 inches for the back armhole. Connect to the tip of the shoulder. Then on the bust area or chest area, take your bust measurement, divide by 4. Connect your armhole. Next, we'll go over to the waistline. Measure your waist circumference, divide by 4 and mark. Find the midpoint of your waist circumference. Whatever you have as half, mark it on the chest line. Use it to connect your dart leg for the back all the way to the hip line. On the waistline, you share your dart half, which is 1 inch. Connect your dart from the chest line to the hip line. On that chest line, I'm going to also replace my dart of 1 inch. Because of the zipper bulge, we'll go in by 1 inch. Connect all the way to the neckline and to the hip line. So I'm cutting off that zipper bulge. That is the zip contour line. Then replace the 1 inch. Don't forget to replace the 1 inch zip bulge. Then I'm going to connect all the way down. Then on the hip line, I'm going to measure my hip circumference, divide by 4 and connect to that point. So that is that for the back piece. Then whatever you have on that hip line, also mark it on the hem line. Connect a straight line from the hem to the hip line. So the back dress is also ready. So the next thing we are going to do is to come down by 2 inches from the 2.5 inches like we did in the front for the back. Then from the hip, you come down by 4 inches on the center back and come in by 2.5 inches from that point to the hem line. you are going to connect a straight line to it. So from the hemline, I'm going to connect a straight line touching the hip line. And with my straight ruler, I'm going to also connect from this point the waistline to that point. Then we'll go ahead and blend it up accordingly. Coming over to that neckline, we are going to highlight the neckline for the front. The 6.5 inches has to be equal on the front, as you see. Then but the neckline, actual neckline, will start from that 1 inch we came up for the armhole, and you blend it up all the way to the 6.5 inches line. So this is how the back neckline is going to look like. Then I extended the dart line to touch the neckline, and I extended the dart line to touch the hip line. So the pattern is ready right now. This is front 1, front 2. This is B2, B1. So don't forget that we extended our chest line by 1 inch. So we are going to connect from the chest line right now to touch the new line extension. Now we will also mark 1 inch inwards on the shoulder line for the strap line. Then I'm going to connect and make an arrow. That is where the strap is going to sit. 1 inch from your armhole, you step inside and mark the dotted line. Right now I'm cutting it out already, so I want you to watch and see how it's being cut. I'll take it into the bast gathered line. After that, we go in and separate the pieces. So for this other side, I am going to keep the B2 separately. I will show you how you will use it to make the gathers without a slash and spread. So I'm going to take off the darts we have for the back and take off the other side of the darts. Don't forget to cut your zipper bulge or zipper contour line. So the back dress is ready right now. I'm going to cut the front piece too. For the front piece, I've already started cutting, okay, but I missed my clips. So what I did was to cut the side, okay. I cut off the side and I cut out from the illusion to the neckline and separate the yoke. Then I have to open up my bust dart so I'll be able to close it up. But before I did that, I cut off that back gathered part, then cut into my dart leg and close my bust dart. So after closing the bust dart, I will continue the cutting, but before that you have to close the over bust dart so we can trace out the cape. I close the over bust dart, and then I'm going to bring my ruler to reconnect that, because that part is supposed to be a straight cape. So once you close the bust dart, you see a little shift. Just reconnect it and make it straight the way I did. Now we are going to trace out. So just follow all the shapes you have there. With my brown pattern paper, I'm able to see everything through, and I'm going to trace out. After tracing out, don't forget to label the center front, the upper piece. Just make an arrow with it, or you can write up side. This is the cape. So we are going to cut out the cape right now. This is me cutting out the cape right away. So I'll just cut the exact shape of this cape the way I traced it out. So when I fit it into the bustier, you can see what it looks like. Now we'll continue to cut. So I'm going to open up the pattern again, so we'll be able to cut out the darts. I'll go ahead and cut the dart accordingly. Just cut, as you can see me do right here. Here is the center front. We'll now cut all of these patterns on fabric. So here I'm done cutting everything on my fabric. The center front is on fold. I added 1.5 inches on the sides. I added 1/2 inch at the midpoint. This is my cape. My cape is on fold at the down part, and I added 1/2 inch all around. This is the back piece. Added 1.5 inches on the zipper and 1.5 inches on the side. Start from the front piece. I'm taking off my patterns because I want us to create the wadding, okay, the bustier. So make a notch on the under bust line for the center front piece. Then I'm going to bring my wadding. I'm placing it on the right side. I have both lining and fabric right here. So on the main fabric, that is where I'm going to place my bustier now. So I'm going to place the wadding right now on it, then cut it out. Of course, you know how to go about the wadding part. Next, we are going to sew the bustier. So after sewing the bustier, this is what we got for the front piece. I also did the same for the lining, so only that the lining does not have the wadding. So I'm going to take off any pieces that comes out from that part, the joining piece. So the front dress is ready right now. We are going to move over to the back piece. So for the back piece, like I said, I added 1.5 inches for the zipper and 1.5 inches on the side and half inch all around. So you are going to make notches on the waistline, so we'll be able to join the pieces together. So I'll take off my patterns right now and we are going to join one piece of it together. After joining them together, this is what I have for the back piece. Okay, so I have both lining and fabric right there. Now we'll move over to the cape. So this is the front dress with its lining. We are going to prepare the cape, right? So here is my cape and this is how it's going to sit. So I added half inch on the center front and I add 1.5 inches on the side of the cape. The upper piece is half inch but the down part is on fold. So I made notch on the center front piece. I'm going to stitch close, but I hasted the cape. Make sure you hasted the cape to make it look firmer. So here you can see the hairstay and I've stitched the 1/2 inch. So I'll just go ahead and fold it in and turn to the right side. After turning the cape to the right side, this is what I got for the cape. So I'll just testron it on the dress. This is how the cape is going to sit on the dress, like that. But before that, we are going to sew that deep in illusion line first. So I'm going to bring the lining. I'll face it right side to right side, secure with my pins, and I'm going to stitch 1/2 inch all the way. So I'll secure with my pins very well because this part can really be very tricky. So just go ahead and stitch half. After stitching in 1/2 inch, you can see how I even marked it to get that V shape very well. Then we are going to make a notch. Please don't forget to make notches on this V shape. This will help you to turn and sew and turn it very well. So I'm going to flip all my seams to the lining right now and top stitch, then give it a good press. It will help it to relax very well. Now you can see I'm done stitching and I gave it a good press. The lining and the fabric are together on the illusion line. So the next thing we are going to do is to sew the cape. So I'm going to pin the cape right now. Pin it just at the beginning of that illusion line. Pin all through. And I'm going to also pin the other side too. So after pinning the cape, we'll keep it at that. Then we are going to prepare the sleeve. So for the sleeve, I'll bring back the pattern. So we are going to measure, I believe you remember this yoke. We are going to measure that dotted line, which is the strap line. So I take the measurement from the shoulder slant. I have 5.5 inches. So this 5.5, the back is also 5.5. So if I put it together, I have 11 inches. Now we are going to multiply that 11 inches by 2, making it 22 inches. So the width of this is 6.5. So I place the fabric on fold. So if I place the fabric on fold, it gives me 6.5 inches. Then the length is 22 inches. I placed it on another fold again. So I measure the 6.5 inches. From that 6.5 inches, I'm going to cut all the way to the tip. So this is what the shape of your sleeve is going to look like. But I want to also reshape this sleeve. I just want it to have that pointy part, okay, where we are going to connect. So I'm going to reshape this sleeve just like a basic sleeve right now. So I kept reshaping it just to have that pointy part where we are going to have the sleeve connect to the bodies of this dress. So this is how or what it looks like at the end of the day. So next I'm going to mark the wrong sides. Then we are going to create the elastic casing for the down part and also make a gathered part. So we are going to fold and gather. You use your gather stitches on the other part. Here are my sleeves. I've made my elastic casing. So we are going to insert the elastic casing on the down part. So the elastic case measures 8 inches. I'm going to use my safety pin. The length is 8 inches. So just take away 3 inches from that total length of 11 inches strap for front and back. Then I gathered the other part. I told you I folded and gathered. So it will just come a little bit together as you see it on the video right there. So you just fold and make a gather stitches. Then later you just gather it. There's no measurement to the gathering of that down part of the cap sleeve. But for the elastic casing, I'm going to insert on the casing I made on the other part of the sleeve. So I'll keep inserting all the way down. Don't forget to top stitch this other end so it doesn't slip into the casing. The sleeves are ready, but we want to attach them. So to attach the sleeve right now, we still need to use our measurements. I'll bring back the pattern for the front. If you look at this pattern, that is for the front and the back yoke. So we'll work on the front dress before we move over to the back one. So this is the front yoke, the center front. From the center front, you are going to measure what we have from the center front to the strap. I have 5 inches. Then I'm going to take away 1 inch for the illusion and mark the 5 inches. Because we have the illusion from which the cape is sewn, so we are going to mark from off 1 inch to get the 5 inches. At that point, I'm going to secure my sleeve, cap sleeve right now with a pin. That is for the front piece. So I'm going to also take the same measurement from that center front illusion line. For the other side, I'll repeat the same thing, off 1 inch and measure 5 inches and secure with your pin. So you lay right side to right side because that is how we are going to sew the sleeve to the cape. So this is what it is going to look like. Then we are going to place the lining on it. So I'm trying to cross check to be sure my strap is correct. So I'll now flip up the lining and I'm going to lay it on top of it and I'm going to stitch 1/2 inch on it. So once you reach to the strap area, please top stitch on that side. Let me do that now. After sewing, this is what we have. So I'm going to flip all my seams to the lining and I'm going to top stitch accordingly. I also gave it a good press so you can see what it looks like, very neat and clean. So next we are going to do is to close up the sides with 1/2 inch. So I'm going to flip the dress to the right side to right side, lining everything tucked in, and I'm going to stitch 1/2 inch on the side, and then we'll also stitch the other way at 1/2 inch. Okay, then for the down part of it where we are going to have the gathered line, we'll also place it together and stitch 1/2 inch and top stitch on it. So after sewing, this is what I got. Then we are going to follow the side of this dress to turn everything. So you turn it from the side like this, and then I'm going to give it a good press too. This is me pressing it down. Make sure you iron it very well. Here I'm still ironing, so give it a very good press as you see me do right here. So once we are done ironing, this is what we have. The sides, I'm going to stitch them close with the lining and the main fabric. Then we are going to jump into the back piece now. So for the back piece, I will bring back my pattern too. This is the strap length, which is 5.5, but we are going to measure from center back to the strap. I also got 5.5. So because the zip allowance was 1.5, if you add 5.5 to it, I will have 7 inches. So I just go ahead and mark 7 inches for my strap position. So I'm going to sew my strap right now. So I'll bring the front dress. This is how you are going to sew the strap. You are going to arrange it and then place it to the strap. So I'm trying to arrange it the way it should be from the center back. So this is how it's going to be, and we'll move ahead to top stitch on it. So we are going to secure with our pins first, and then I'm going to bring back the lining. I'm going to place the lining on top of it, as you can see, and then we are going to stitch 1/2 inch on it and also top stitch on it. So here is what we have for the strap. So we are going to tuck everything in and close the sides and close the zipper position. I did that for the both of them. So after closing, we are going to stitch our zip. I'm going to mark my zip position right away. Now I'm going to mark 1 inch, 1 inch. That is for my zipper space. After marking the zip right now, I'm going to put the dress together right side to right side, and we are going to stitch down 1 inch all the way down. You stitch 1 inch from the point I'm pinning to close up this other end. Then I'm going to sew my zip as well. So here my zip is ready, the dress is ready together. Next, we are going to flip right side to right side, and we are going to shaping the dress. I'll go ahead and shaping the dress right now. I'm done shaping the dress. You can see what we have here, looking neat and fine. So we are going to cut the gathered part. So I want to share with you the tips and tricks to cutting this gathered part without slashing and spreading. To get the amount of fabric you are going to use for this gathered part, you are going to put the dress together and measure from the down part to the cuffed part. Here I have 25 inches. I multiply 25 by 2, that gave me 50 inches. So that 50 inches result I have now, I'm going to multiply by 2.52 for the gathers to know how much gathers I want. Now the result I got, 50 multiplied by 2.5, so the result gave me 125. Then I divided by 36, which is a yard. So 125 divided by 36 gave me 3 yards. 3 yards and a little, so I just took 3 yards. So the fabric you use there is 3 yards if you want it very full, but I use 2.5 yards. Okay, 2.5 yards of Ankara is fine. So this is my 2.5 yards, and this is the length of Ankara at 45. So I placed it on fold. If I place it on fold, that will be the length I'm going to gather in. Okay, it will give me that 23 inches thereabout, which I'm going to gather on the side. Then I'm going to place it on another fold. The 2.5 yards, I'm placing it on another fold, making it 4 folds. Then I'm going to bring in that pepper which I cut out. So I'm going to invert it, that is placing it the part that is supposed to be attached. You turn it the other way, so we'll chop off that blended part. Okay, so that is how we are going to cut it out, and it gives you that exact result. You don't need to slash and spread. You don't need to slash and spread, you know, for this. So you can see that curve. That is what I'm going to trim off right now to the end of this 2.5 yards fabric I folded into 2. I'll go ahead to cut it out accordingly. So after cutting it out, this is the result. So you can make a notch to show the side line where our gathers is going to. So I'll just go ahead and gather each of them like that. I'll gather coming to the center. Right here I'm done gathering, so don't forget to hem this part before you attach to the dress. So here I've brought my dress, and I'm going to place that center part I pinned. I'm going to pin it to the side dress. Then I'm going to also pin the down part to the hem dress. Then I'll go over to the machine. Make sure you hem that part before you stitch in. So I'm going to stitch all the way till I get to the other end. So this is the dress. You agree with me, the dress is very beautiful. So thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Bye.